How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with The Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at A Nightmare on Elm Street Copycat. This is a short story that was originally published in New Line Cinema's Tales of Horror, and in this you would get a nightmare story and a chainsaw story. And this is a really interesting idea, a two-part anthology book with licensed slasher characters. I like this concept. It really is a shame we only got one of them. The chainsaw story is called The Texas Chainsaw Salesman, and I talked about it on the channel when I was covering the stories from Book 2. And yeah, it's a fun little story, but it's not the biggest deal ever. But that one was only like 8 pages or so long. This one is 14, and I think that's a really interesting idea to have an asymmetric page split where Chainsaw Salesman can just be this fun little quick idea, and then Copycat from Nightmare can be a little bit more developed and a little bit more involved, and I really did wind up really liking this. Again, at the time, Wildstorm had the rights to both Jason and the Lost Boys. Man, if we got like 6 of these, this would be such a fun little collection. Sadly, only had the one shot. The story itself, Copycat, is a fun idea. A girl is running from Freddy Krueger, wakes up into the real world, and gets killed by a knockoff Freddy Krueger. And we get the idea that Freddy Krueger scares most of the people in Springwood, but to a certain group of disturbed individuals, he inspires them. And it's kind of an interesting take. The people that react differently to Freddy Krueger, who think the power is cool and want the power. And then on top of that, when Freddy confronts this person in his dreams, it turns out he has a few fail-safes in the real world, and that's going to be a bit of a puzzle for Freddy to get through because Freddy notoriously can't affect the real world that much, so we do get some plot here as well. And overall, I do like this. Freddy is always fun and they do some good dream gags with him, but also, again, only 14 pages, and we're doing a whole lot of interesting ideas in here. They really did pack a lot in, and yeah, it's a fun story. I can definitely recommend it. I was lucky enough to find this book. I thought I would probably cover this story if I ever got the Trade 2 paperback, but I was digging through the stacks and I found the original printing of Tales of Horror, and I was glad to find that. I paid $10 for it, but like on Amazon right now, it's going for way too much, and I really wish they would reprint more of the Wildstorm stuff because the Wildstorm comics were fun. I really would love, like, a hardcover that collected, you know, both issues of Nightmare into one thick book, or give us an omnibus with everything, but whatever. I would love some sort of reprint so these aren't so hard to find. All that being said though, if you guys want to talk a little bit more about the story, I'm gonna switch to the close-up camera, show you guys a few more plot details, and show you guys some of the art. I'll be avoiding major spoilers and trying to stay pretty far away from the end, but if you want a bit of a deeper dive, let's go ahead and switch to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle taking a closer look at A Nightmare on Elm Street Copycat. Once again, we're inside this New Line Cinema's Tales of Terror collection, and I have to say this cover is pretty fun. Leatherface down there with his chainsaw, and that smoke provides the transition to Freddy Krueger with his fire. A good double portrait, and because Freddy Krueger's story is longer, he does have the focal point. There's the signature on the bottom, the credits, Wildstorm #1 from November of 07. And if we look down here, only $2.99. Ah man, we still get some $2.99 books, but I have a feeling that nowadays this would be like $4.99. And also, that's the cover price. This thing has rose in value quite a bit. I found it for $10 digging through the stacks, and I considered myself lucky to get it for only $10. And hey, the back of the book has an ad for the Superman Doomsday DVD. Anyway, if we crack it open, we can see that the Texas Chainsaw Salesman is first, so we have to do a little bit of flipping, but after that that, we'll get into Nightmare on Elm Street Copycat. And let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the story. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and break down and analyze a few things. So I'll be avoiding the end bits, but let's take a deeper dive. We open up with this girl, and she's having the classic dream about showing up to school naked. However, rather than it just being the middle of class, the school's dark and abandoned, and she's running into Freddy Krueger in all these different school positions. So here's Freddy Krueger in the cafeteria. Want to find out what the mystery meat is. And then she heads over to the gym and finds a bunch of Freddy Krueger cheerleaders. And this is a good creepy design where the pom-poms are also Freddy Krueger faces, kind of getting that late series cheese in there. And also, it should be worth noting, this is the kind of book where, you know, yeah, she'll be naked, but it'll be just barely censored, like her hair and her leg just happen to cover stuff up. Yeah, we're in Wildstorm, we're not in Avatar comics anymore. However, this is a dream, and she wakes up escaping Freddy Krueger. Or, well, so she thinks. Surprisingly, Freddy Krueger's still there in real life, and when she pulls off his hat, well, who is this guy? We then cut to a scene I really like where we get Freddy Krueger in his world, and we get to see the boiler room pipes, and we get to see the Tower of Souls, and we also get like a graveyard that he's standing on. But he also has this big crystal ball inside of his skull that he can watch the real world in, and he sees this other guy, and he's of course surprised and angry that someone is stealing his persona. And there's the credits. Copycat, written by Christos N, Gage, and art by Stefano Raffaele. We also get an ad for Chuck over here. I remember that show back in the day. Anyway, we then follow the copycat to the Springwood Motel, and when he goes to sleep, Freddy pays him a visit. I love this like little cloud that represents him going into dreamland. And when he gets there, Freddy Krueger tries to kill him. When he says, "You don't get it, I'm your biggest fan." And he explains that he was actually a student when Freddy did all of his killings, and he actually looked up to Freddy and thought he was super cool and wanted to do killings himself. He shows him all the newspaper articles he's gathered, piecing together the story about who Freddy is and what he's doing now, but that's also going to be what he's going to use to keep Freddy Krueger off his back. He says he set up a computer, and if anything happens to him, all this information is going to get emailed to the press, and that's going to blow Freddy Krueger's cover. So basically, Freddy's trying to stay under the radar in this one, which, yeah, does contradict how in Freddy vs. Jason he wanted the glory, but now Freddy has a problem, because if this guy's going around killing people, he doesn't get the souls of the teenagers, and he has to figure out what to do. He gives this guy some busy work. "Oh yeah, I totally buy that you're a good team member. Go kill this Elm Street kid that won't go to sleep for me." And then it's back to Dreamworld, where Freddy starts to hatch a plan to figure out what to do with this guy. And yeah, later on in this book, for like this one scene, Freddy gets his new nightmare coat back. Whatever though, it's still cool. But yeah, Freddy's got a plan, and there's a good bit of, you know, twists and turns and plot elements in this book. I will say, yeah, it is kind of weird when Freddy has to sit down and have like a conversation with someone, and it is also weird to, you know, tell so much of the story from Freddy's perspective, but I like the idea that, you know, there are bad humans that aren't necessarily supernatural, and they're going to look up to and be influenced by him. And what if there was a real world copycat killer? And of course, that's always going to be one of the harder things for Freddy to do, is figure out how to manipulate the real world and get what he wants in a realm that he doesn't exist in. Overall, not the biggest, most important story ever, but we do get a lot done in only 14 pages, and as a short little story, as the main meat of this double pack here, it is a really fun thing, and I do wish they made more than one of these, because I would have loved to get, because I think at this point in time, they had, you know, Freddy, Leatherface, they had Jason, and the Lost Boys. Ah man, with those 4 titles, you could have made such a cool long-running anthology book, but I am happy for the one of these that we did get, and overall, a good story. Anyway though, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more videos kind of like this, you should be able to find more there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist here. Have a good day now.